Hi, and thank you for being here with me today. I am Maria Mandarino, certified spiritual director, licensed acupuncturist, certified Enneagram practitioner, and certified Bach flower practitioner. So before we jump into things and explain a little bit more about the Enneagram types and the flower essences, I would like to remind you, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Remember to hit the alert button. That way you'll be notified of upcoming episodes. Please comment and share the episode with other people. Your efforts have really helped the channel grow, and I'd love it if you would continue to lend me that support. So thank you again and again. If you haven't done those things already, please comment, subscribe, like, and share. Okay. This subject in this series is one of the things that I spend a little bit of time with in the course that I have coming up, which I have a tentative date scheduled for September 25th. As long as everything goes according to plan. It's not been an easy summer with tech, so bear with me on that, but hopefully it will be on the 25th. So be on the lookout for that. Before we jump into talking about the flower remedies today, I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about what they are as well and what they are not. But I want to just point out that rather than this be about self-treating and self-diagnosing, that's really not how the flowers are designed, or even really how the Enneagram works. That's why we pair it with spiritual direction, because with both systems, it's really important to be in conversation and to be in relationship with somebody, and it need not be me, but somebody who's professionally trained. If you do want to work with me, you can do that through my website. You can schedule there, just reach out, mariamandarino.com. My schedule is there online. And I do have 15-minute complimentary consultations if you just want to see if we even gel well together. So that's available as well. But the reason we work with people on both these things, the flower essences and creating a specialized formula, and with the Enneagram, is it's really important to be working with somebody who you trust, who you're comfortable with, who sees you, because we can do a really good job of evading ourselves and evading behaviors that we've carried with us pretty much since we arrived on the planet. So I just want to point that out. So this isn't really a do-it-yourself project. And, if they're deeper issues, they're issues that you may even want to reach out to a counselor to talk about. Of course, a counselor's probably not going to be, some people are versed in the Enneagram, probably not going to be in the Bach flower remedies, but there's a place for counseling, professional counseling alongside this work sometimes. So I just want to point that out, that that's another way of doing this work. All right, so today we're going to look specifically at type 6, Enneagram type 6. And we've covered this before, so you can go back and look at some of the foundational videos for the Enneagram types. Type 6 is the loyal skeptic, and there's more than one flower. It's not a direct overlap between the flower essences and the Enneagram types, but there are definitely certain flowers that we can extract for certain patterns in the Enneagram. So, and that's become one of my passions, because I do work with both sets of patterns, so it's really hard for me to leave one method of harmonizing the spirit on the shelf when I know more than one system. So today we're going to look at type 6, and Scleranthus is the flower remedy. And that isn't used in the Bach system, but it's used in other systems as well. The Bach system is the one that I'm trained in. I do integrate some other remedies. I make my own remedies sometimes when the plants are available to me. So Scleranthus is the one we're going to look at today. But first, I want to go over the qualities of type 6. So for some of you, this will be a review. Reviews always go deeper and deeper. So if it is a review, it should be helpful. So qualities of type 6, they value safety. It's one of the most noteworthy things about Enneagram type 6. They value safety. They're constantly assessing the things that can go wrong in order to make sure that they and their loved ones remain safe. So they have some focus on danger or an awareness of danger, depending on how healthy or unhealthy they are. They value being prepared, again, because being prepared means you have more opportunity to be safe in various situations. They value security for the same reasons. And they can be skeptical, which is why we call them the loyal skeptic, right? Because they have this loyalty to the tribe, to the group, whatever that is, whether it's family, whether it's their work group, and whoever else in between. By remaining skeptical, they're ensuring that the group that they're loyal to will be safe. So that's why we call them the loyal skeptic. And so that means they're always discerning. Okay. So they're skeptical people, they're questioning people. And the questions are always to make sure that everybody's going to be safe. And not everybody really understands that when the questions are being directed at them. Some people can, depending on the type that is receiving the questioning, people can think that the questioning is actually criticism, where it's really not what the 6 is doing. They're just trying to make sure that everyone will be safe in the situation. So they ask a lot of questions. They have an easily triggered alarm system. When they're in their lower side, when they are being especially skeptical, there's a loss of faith that goes out, and they defer to their mind and to figuring it out over trusting and having faith. So that's important to note. It's a significant part of the 6 and the 6 type structure when the 6 is not healthy. Okay, when you see a stressed out 6, there's going to be an abandonment of faith in favor of figuring it out. And a lot of times I say, I need to figure that out, or I can't quite figure that out. I can't put my finger on it, that type of language. And doubt becomes one of their struggles. And that's actually what's going to tie into the flower remedy we talk about today. So their doubt has to do with indecision. And the belief that danger has to be everywhere. And so they are hyper vigilant around decisions until they feel that a safe decision has been arrived at. So in their healthy presentation, as I mentioned, they're loyal to the tribe, right? If we're loyal to each other, then everybody's safe, which is a happy place for the 6. They're trustworthy. They're intelligent. Again, they're in the head center. I don't think I mentioned that in this episode, but they're in the head center along with 5, 6, and 7, right? So that's why they like to figure things out if they don't feel safe. Because they're in the head center, they're witty. They rely on wit. They're liked a lot of the times for their wit. They're fair people. They are inquisitive. So again, that questioning, which can be seen as too much by certain people, on the positive side, comes across as more inquisitive and less of a picking apart of things and deconstructing things with questions. This is more of an inquisitive kind of an energy. They're faithful people, again, loyal, right? So faithful. They're problem solvers. They're excellent problem solvers. If you've got a group project going on, I hope that you have a 6, or perhaps you are the 6 in the group, but problem solvers that are 6s, it's a great insurance policy to have a 6 on your team. They are protective of the people around them, the people in their tribe, their loved ones, the people they're responsible for. Very protective and intuitive. Okay. So a little bit about flower essences and what they are. So I want to point out this little bottle, which may be familiar to some of you. Rescue Remedy is in the Bach flower system. This is the crisis remedy. There's a group of remedies in that combine for your general stressful situation. I keep one in my kitchen cabinet and I keep one in my purse all the time. So you can even put 4 drops of that in a spray bottle and just in some water and just spray it around if you kind of have a stressful situation going. No one even has to know, because they don't have any fragrance. It's one of the things I want to mention. I don't think I mentioned last time. These are not essential oils. These are actually the essence of the flower that's extracted from the plant material, and it's preserved. And basically we're extracting, in the essence of the flower, we're extracting, and again, not the fragrance, right? But the essence, like the soul of the flower, the spirit of the flower, how it behaves reflects how we behave. So the flower has essentially a personality, as we do, right? So, and that personality of the flower can, as it's extracted through the flower remedy, can help us heal and harmonize our own emotions. Dr. Bach, I think I mentioned this in one of the previous episodes. Dr. Bach was a surgeon and a homeopath in the early 1900s in England. And he found that conventional medicine was not necessarily getting all of the job done with his patients. And they would have surgeries, and they would come to him for traditional treatment, and they would frequently return with the same situations, maybe slightly different shades of the same situation. And he came to the conclusion that it was because something in the personality had not been addressed. And that's when he began to explore flower remedies. And there are 38 essences in the Bach system. Again, that's the one that I use in most of my work. So that's just a little bit about the flowers. I just really want to impress upon you, they're not essential oils. There's no fragrance involved in these. And they're taken internally. You can, as I said, put them in a spray bottle and just spray them around a room, and nobody can be the wiser for it, but everybody's energy will respond. So if you just kind of want to buff out a room, you can do that. But really, they're designed to be taken internally, ideally in a formula where we put up to 7 essences together in a personal formula for the person, depending on what's going on in your world. And from formula to formula, that changes. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. So, or peeling off the layers of an onion, I should say. So as we get to the deeper things, we get to the deeper things, right? So new formula, and then we're getting to the root of what's going on with the person. So that's how they work. And again, I am a certified Bach flower practitioner, so there's quite a bit of training that goes along and how to do this with people, and what to listen for, what to ask about, what to extract from the conversation so that we can then select our formula. So what the practitioner does is we listen, we reflect back, we ask more questions, we probe a little bit until we find that formula. So the one we're going to talk about today is Scleranthus, as I mentioned, and it is in the Bach system. It's not only in the Bach system, but it is one of the 38. And the keywords associated with it are uncertainty and indecision. Okay, so Scleranthus is specifically for people that are stuck on, let's say, a pro or a con. They're not the person who has no clue what the decision should be. It's A or it's B. There's no C, D, E, F, G. It's A or it's B. It's either or. They're stuck between one or the other. That's really important to note. So they've thought some things through, and they've narrowed it down to those 2 things. And it comes down to which of the 2 things is the safest decision for the person who needs Scleranthus. Okay. So that's important to note. It's just 2 things that they've got it narrowed down to, and they can't decide on this or that, this or that. And the other thing that's important about Scleranthus, the people that need Scleranthus, is they don't talk about it. There's another remedy where people do need to talk about it and run it past everybody that'll walk in front of them. Because people that need Scleranthus, they don't talk about their indecision between the 2 things. Okay, they hold it within, and it really happens. And again, this gets us back to the 6, right? In the head type, it really is a mental thing with them. And they're constantly switching. Do I do this? Do I do that? What's safe? Should I do that? Should I? So it's a real mental thing with people that need Scleranthus, and they're focused on 2 things. Okay. So they've also been said to ride the fence. If this is something that plays out in a relationship, it looks like, I don't know if I should stay or if I should bail. It's that kind of thing. And it's just this constant mental ping pong that goes on in their heads. And, of course, they're overthinking, right? Because it's all happening in here. So how would you not think about type 6, right? Because they're looking for what's safe. They've thought it all out. They've kind of looked at all the details, and they've narrowed it down, and they're stuck in their heads about, do I do this? Do I do that? So doesn't that sound just like Scleranthus, right? So interestingly, the positive potential of someone who needs Scleranthus, so this is when we give Scleranthus to someone who needs it and we start to see them improve, right? So what do we see? We see somebody who has developed certainty and comfort with being certain. They're not stuck between one and the other. They are able to come to a decision and be certain about it and be grounded and centered and peaceful in their decision. They're decisive and they can act quickly in that decisiveness. So there's an efficiency that comes out of this, right? Certainty, decisiveness, and they can act quickly. And I'm going to tell you why. It's because they're connected to their faith. They've plugged back into faith, and whatever that means for them. I don't mean a particular faith tradition. It may be that, but they have restored their faith, right? So to get back to Enneagram Type 6, one of the things we say about Type 6 is their journey, because they're doubters and skeptics and their lower expression, right? Their journey is a journey of faith. So here we have the remedy, right? For the person who's struggling with their journey of faith, the remedy that will bring them to certainty, bring them to decisiveness, and help them act quickly and decisively from this place of faithful knowing. I think that is all I have for you. I just want to make sure I'll go through my notes here. And it is, except I'm doing this series with some journal questioning for each type, based on what I just shared, or based on anything else you want to bring to it, because you've probably done some work in these areas or other areas, right? So I am of the belief I will never be a pure 100%. This is the only way to get to the center of town. You can see my little puppy in the back. She's not quite a puppy, but she thinks she's a puppy playing in the background here. So you can see her wiggling around. And I completely lost my train of thought there, so I apologize. Cute puppies can do that to me. But anyway, so journaling questions. Oh, I know where I was going with that. So I am never going to be the person who stands 100% on there's one way to get to matters of the spirit, which is why I do the various things that I do. Because first of all, there's more than one way in. Second of all, it just makes sense to use more than one way in, as long as we're working authentically with that wisdom tradition, right? Not just kind of taking little bits and pieces, right? You want to work it, you want whatever it is that you choose and you're working with. If you're blending things together, you want to blend them authentically, right? So that's something that I do. So my point is, as you're journaling, you may want to explore journaling exercise with what I just shared with you about Type 6, if you lead with 6, and Scleranthus, or you may have another wisdom tool that you use. So answer these questions. They're for yourself. I mean, you're certainly welcome to post a little bit. I'm not going to be able to get back to everybody on those things, but this is for you. So if you're doing journaling, if you're not doing journaling, I encourage you to. It's a great practice for getting to the center of any spiritual matters, matters of a personality, the things that we struggle with, the patterns of behavior that we repeat and wish we didn't because they're just so darn painful sometimes. And we repeat them because we just are not consciously aware of another way to do them. So the Enneagram gives us another way. The Bach flowers and the flower essences certainly give you other ways, as do other traditions as well. So journal question number 1. What does it feel like in my body when I am certain, when I feel safe, and when I feel seen by those who love me? Recall a time like this. So I'll repeat that. Journal question number 1. What does it feel like in my body when I am certain, when I feel safe and seen by those who love me? Recall a time like this. Journal question number 2. And by the way, I'm going to remember to put these into the show notes at the end. I don't think I did that last episode, so I apologize, but I'll put these into the show notes so you'll have them. Journal question number 2. What's the worst thing that can happen if I choose incorrectly? What's the worst thing that can happen if I choose incorrectly? One more time. What's the worst thing that can happen if I choose incorrectly? Journal question number 3. What lessons have I learned about myself after making an incorrect choice? Journal question number 3. What lessons have I learned about myself after making an incorrect choice? And journal question number 4. This is the final one. What is my attachment to safe decisions? What is my earliest memory around needing to be safe? I'll repeat that. What is my attachment to safe decisions? What is my earliest memory around needing to be safe? Okay, so again, I will be sure to put those in the show notes for you. And again, this is really for you to just do some inner work. If any awareness comes of it that you want to share, feel free to comment. Again, it's highly unlikely that I can get too specific with comments, but yeah, if that's something that you want to do, certainly do that. But I encourage you to definitely do the journaling. I always encourage everybody that I work with, from my acupuncture practice to spiritual direction, to do journaling. So I think it's a really great way for those pieces of brilliance that live within ourselves to just emerge. And I don't know that they would emerge any other way necessarily. So, or at least not as quickly as we need them to. So, as a lifelong journaler, I can speak to that. So if you are interested in scheduling an Enneagram typing session with me, I am available to do that. I will leave that in the show notes. If you would like to schedule a Bach flower consultation with me, and those include the formulas, it's a personalized formula. It's not just one remedy. I am available to do that online as well. I do all of that work in the virtual space. Website is www.mariamandarino.com. Again, that'll be in the show notes for you. And thank you for being here. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And I will see you next time. Okay, thanks so much. Have a great week. Bye.